You're live.
This is Thursday, February 5th, and this is the Senate Transportation Committee. And we are starting with Agency of Transportation updates and the energy reporting. And if you could both give your name and give us what your position is, and we'll go into the report.
Great, thanks. I'm Andrea Wright. I'm the Environmental Policy Manager at the agency.
And Brad McAvoy, Facilities Manager for AOT.
Yeah, so we're here to share the report. It's a short report, short presentation on our biannual thermal energy reporting required pursuant to Chapter 45 of 19 BSA. So I'll just go through a quick reminder for you all of what that is. Basically, it came out of this committee, I believe, 2 years ago, and through the T-bill section, I'm not sure which section, but section 3 of the T-bill in 2024 required us to, in concert or towards the goals of the Comprehensive Energy Plan, to provide a report biannually to BGS. It's not a legislative report, it's just to BGS. By October 1st, that provides some specifics on our heating systems. Let's see, what are those specifics? Speaks to the need for the agency to use more renewable fuels, wood heat, and heat its buildings with increase of electricity generated from renewable sources. And it also states that when we're building new facilities or replacing heating systems, that we're looking at prioritizing a switch to high efficiency advanced heating systems. So when we're looking at that, we'll start with an overview of the AOT facility space. Obviously, Brad is the program manager. I'll probably speak to this much better than I can, but that group serves to help service all of the agency's building assets, primarily by making repairs and renovations to existing buildings and then overseeing the new builds that we do. You've heard a lot.
Are all these heated? Like the white space?
Not all of the square feet are heated, but go ahead.
Right.
So I think a little further down, there's a total of 430 buildings. There's about 1.4 million overall square feet, about 900,000 that is heated.
Yeah.
So salt sheds, storage sheds, things of that nature would not be heated. Waste stations, we do have some of the waste stations, they do have heat. 2 or 3 of them, I believe, have heat in them.
Yeah, we do own some buildings that are leased out, especially to rail and aviation in our aviation group. And those are included in the square feet, but then we also lease some buildings, BCP, Bill, and probably others, I'm not sure.
There's a couple, I think there's 5 leases total that we have out there.
Yeah, and those are not included in this square footage.
Some the heating and electricity and everything is built in the lease, some they're not, but we pay separately.
That's sort of our starting point. A little bit on our data collection background and the process that we have. It's a really labor intensive and time consuming process. It's carried out by 40 plus bill payers. They are entering information because we have so many different facilities. They're entering information into some of our financial systems for payment. So we're collecting data from a really large system of facilities by a lot of different people, a manual process. So it definitely introduces opportunity for some level of inaccuracy, some inconsistencies potentially, and some human error. We have some challenges in that, besides that fact, but also that we have different reporting systems for different consumptions. So we have an internal tracking for things like electricity and different consumptions, but then we, well, I'm not even exactly sure. There's different systems. We were entering into Energy Star Portfolio Manager to report to BGS so that we were all kind of on the same system, but that's only for our facilities energy consumptions. So yeah, just kind of like a lot of different moving parts. It's difficult to separate out our fuel usage for thermal systems compared to what we're using for vehicles. Same thing with electric. It's difficult to parse out what's being used for heating our buildings versus lighting for parking lots and
EV charging.
and
We have,
Andy has a question.
So I understand why the electricity would be hard to separate. Because you're paying probably just all goes through one meter, but wouldn't you be paying your fuel? On the road fuel very different from your space heating fuel?
we do get the bills for those for our fuels. All of our fuel contracts go out through VGS, they're a commodity, so each site specific has a specified fuel vendor. So we do get all of those invoices. We had skid tanks for our trucks, but that some of those skid tanks for diesel and things are also used for our generators. There's other uses that we may see those for. We don't heat any of our garages with diesel. The electric, I think, is definitely more difficult to parse out.
No, it's just because of the or because you don't pay tax, maybe you can just buy the same diesel and I guess you're not using it for heating, but
Yeah.
you could use it for other
Yeah,
stuff.
but like we have
Generator.
within the last couple of years, we installed level 2 chargers at all 9 of our.
Yeah, no, the
different
electric stuff, I understand.
And we don't have separate meters for a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
those, so it's very difficult to track.
yeah, so definitely some challenges. For well over a decade, we've been providing information to BGS. And then they take it and put it into their systems and incorporate it into the state agency energy plan and the progress on that. Of course, you saw that auditor's report probably
I was
last
gonna
week.
say they either do that or they don't do that.
Maybe they're slipping a little bit on that. So this whole tracking we've been tracking it, we've been providing it. The sort of the analytical side of it is new for us. And so we're definitely learning as we go here. And you'll see a little bit of that, but we are also trying to make improvements to our internal process, really breaking down that process and seeing if we can get some consistencies. Again, with the different billing processes and all that, it's a definite challenge. And then working with BGS over the last few years, just to kind of make sure that we're providing the information in the way that they want to, and they're trying to also come up with a new system that's more efficient and results in less potential errors.
Do you report the fuel that's used for vehicles and trucks and somewhere else?
We have that data, yes.
I believe that's reported out through the central garage, Dave Thurber or Mike Terry, who's now the fleet manager. I'll report that out separately.
So are we looking at trends in that also?
We are not looking at trends in that right now. We have the data and we've looked into it a little bit. We have not reported it out in any way.
I think that would be helpful because one thing you could do is just do total energy, so which that would be accurate, right? And then when you parse it out, it's as accurate as you can make it. But it would be interesting to know that total energy consumption would be
I
reducing
do
over
believe that
time.
is the information that goes to BGS also, because we are looking at our facilities, we're looking at our vehicles also, our total energy consumption.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
but
The vehicle fuel is much easier to track. So I'm using the WEX cards. They can run reports on that pretty regularly to get the true consumption year over year or month over month. So I don't think our fleet that's on the road has changed much. I think we're probably staying pretty steady every year, other than the cost of what the diesel is at this point.
so, I guess case in point here, this is our thermal energy usage summary in the table, and we do have diesel on there. And Brad and I were just talking this morning and we're kind of like, wait, why is diesel on there? So we're really, like I said,
You're not using it as heating fuel.
We're not.
we're not. So this is sort of just a result of my group coming in and digging into the data and trying to figure out exactly what's being used for thermal and other areas. And we're kind of new in the analytical side of this. So
What is uncut? Is that not dyed? Or what's uncut?
Yeah, I think it's some of the summer blend. We're in the winter blend now, so that's probably unblended for some years.
So just providing a summary here, like we're required to do in section 45, we're to look at the previous 2 state fiscal years. Really, this table is giving you a sense of the different types of fuels that we're using and how much of each, and then correlating that to BTUs. So we have those 3 bullets there are specifics that were asked for in section 45. we have a little bit of trouble parsing some of this out. For non-fossil fuel percentage by fuel source, right now, we have that, is wood. We do have wood pellets also, and I think the third bullet, like each amount of wood of fuel used. We have wood pellets also being used, but that's very new to us, so we're not we're tracking that, we just aren't ready to report that yet.
So what are the two? I don't understand the wood purchase. And
that's another thing of the way the data is collected. We were going from a lot of the receipts for the cost, and that's why there's a line item there for purchased. We have not purchased wood. All the wood that we're using, cordwood that we're using, is from projects on sites, and so
Kind of right away.
Right.
yeah.
We typically try to get a year ahead of it because the new outdoor wood boilers we're using are gas fires. We got to use dry seasoned hardwood, so definitely needs at least a year to be put up.
Can sell it this year, makes.
Right.
We're using a lot of it this year. So.
Yeah. Is it, but it's 22 projects or 22? Not 22 with BTU, so what, I don't understand that.
22 cords.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, the MB, no, sorry.
That column says MMBTU per unit, so
Per unit,
there's
yeah.
not 22 quarters, there's not 22 MMBTU per.
Yeah.
Like it's a bigger number than.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Per cord.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not, maybe I'm getting my
I don't know.
units mixed up.
I'm not sure exactly where the source
The
is.
outdoor wood boilers we're using are 400,000 BTU. They're the E-Classic
Yeah, maybe just
titanium jacket.
MMBTU,
Gasifier.
million BTUs, yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure that wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing to check on.
Right. And you don't really, you're saying purchase, but you're not purchasing it, you're cutting.
Pellets we're purchasing, so that'll become a line item in here,
Okay.
probably starting next year. We're just finishing our first year of Swan Garage that's strictly wood pellet for primary heat.
I want you to also say the rut on the airport is right across the street from the pellet now. And so they could just like go over the pellets. But whenever you're needed to replace that heating system, I hope you consider
We
the pellets.
actually, that system just was replaced in the last year, and it was
Wow.
during winter months where we had a breakdown.
Wow.
Unfortunately, all of our few projects where we have a little time where we know
Yeah.
we have a replacement coming, we're definitely taking those steps to go renewable as much as possible. And we'll show you some examples of that in a later slide.
Yeah, you get it into that right now.
So these are just some system staff for our garage facilities out of the 430 buildings. Just the number, we've got 14 solar arrays at our garages. 10 of those are owned, 4 of those are leased. We have sites with heat pumps. The bottom right hand photo there was a Tunbridge garage. That one was an oil fired boiler. We converted that entire garage to heat pumps. The solar array above that is also at that site. So other than the diesel generator, we're fossil fuel free at that site.
You have a couple of those, like also in Reigate or Groton. Right over there, that's also.
Not in that area now. Maybe a town garage, but not a state garage. The upper left is our typical outdoor wood boiler. Like I said, they're the most BTU, 400,000 BTU. They're regulated in Vermont and approved by the EPA. So they're very clean, efficient. When you've got a good fire going, they're gasifiers. You really can't even see any smoke plume coming from these. So we're completing one right now in North Montclair. That's replacing a propane system. That'll become primary heat source starting next year. I believe that put us up to 24 sites. They'll be strictly burning wood in the winter. We had a few sites that had the indoor, a lot of the garages had the old indoor wood stoves. Those have all been red tagged. We can't use those.
So what company is this first?
Excuse me?
What company?
It's Central Boiler.
Central
Yeah,
Boiler?
Central Boiler E-Classic is the model. We've gone to the latest is a titanium jacket. We're getting the original steel jackets. We would get 6 to 7 years out of them. These newer ones with the titanium jackets, we should get even longer. And we can replace those fairly inexpensively because they're pretty much plug and play at that point. Couple of the sites we've even converted. We had a site in Enosburg where our slab was getting very rough shape. So we actually cut out the entire slab, put in radiant tubing, tied that to the outdoor wood boiler. So we're heating our slab with wood heat. That's been a very successful project.
So about how much of this would you do just because it's a good thing to do? A financially good thing and
Yep.
operationally good. How much would you do this on your own?
We try to do 2 to 3 heating system replacements a year. With the amount of buildings we have and the funding level that we have, we're trying to get a little more proactive. We've got a lot of our data in BAMIS now. We're doing condition assessments to go through and kind of highlight the sites we know are getting in bad shape so we can start planning ahead as money comes in. But typically we're doing 2 to 3 replacements a year on heating systems. We've got about 90% of our garages have all been converted to LED lights for the high bay lights. We should be wrapping up those over the next 2 years for those full conversions.
Let me follow up. So if the state didn't require you to do things that are energy efficient because of our climate goals, how much of this would you do just because it saves money over the long term and it's better, the health, like wood stoves in
I
it?
think the wood boilers are an easy grab because the guys are
Yeah.
out there all summer. They're getting free wood.
Yeah.
We even had a couple of years ago when the Windsor prison farm closed, we got about 75 to 80 cord of wood from them. We distributed around the state. Pretty much heated all of our garages for free when that happened. Maybe it was more than a couple of years ago, but
But no, I'm just thinking I have heard this story
Yeah.
before.
yeah,
This is the big garage behind on the other side that they took it from, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they still have all the equipment out there too,
All
but
of our orange-
no one's there. We should build housing.
All of our orange trucks in the summer came and
Yeah.
pretty much did a big loop. We distributed statewide, so that was a big help
Yeah, you
when
got
that
them.
happened.
What's the average size of the wood boilers?
Under 400,000 BTU. Yeah. And if you go to the next slide. The next slide is Swanton Garage, which is our most recent, which will kind of be our new design for larger garages. That was pellet boilers. That was our first site that did pellet boilers. I know BGS has a few, the Hartford southbound rest area, a few others use pellets. These are main energy systems boilers, very efficient. That site has a 18-ton pellet silo. We're kind of getting through our first year of data to see how much we're actually going to go through for that year. As you can see, we have level 3 charging at that site, also level 2 charging, but this is kind of going to be our new standard. The new Central Garage project is kind of modeled after this. That's a 28-ton silo with 3 pellet boilers.
Central Garage.
The new Central Garage, yeah.
Great.
The office areas, and the Swanton site for the garage, as well as a separate district office, are all heat pump. We do have couple pretty large solar arrays at the new Swanton garage. So we're pretty much net zero on as far as power goes on that site.
That could be a good field trip, just.
We love to have you. We took house trams up last year. I think they really enjoyed
I
seeing.
don't need to go back in
Yeah.
bit. I'm comparing what I have to what you put in. So are your outdoor wood furnaces gasification systems?
They are.
They are.
Yep. I think it's the 940 HDX model.
Okay.
Yep.
I have the Heatmaster 10,000, which does about 14,000 square feet. But the estimates are that I'm cleaner than propane.
Yeah, like I said, once they get really going, get a good combustion, and we can fill them in the morning, and at the end of the day, when they come back, there's still plenty of wood in there. So they're pretty efficient. Andrew and I were talking this morning. I think there's one area where we're showing they actually have a decrease in wood use, but it's really just from the fact that we've gone from our indoor old wood stoves where we could pretty much feed anything in there to an outdoor system that's far more efficient, much cleaner. So that's That's what we're replacing any of our systems with now.
That's all we had.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Probably the best report on that we've ever had. And I think one of the reasons we kept, or for a while there, we were adding requirements because frankly, I didn't think the agency was taking it very seriously.
We're kind of doing on our own. We actually just, Monday, we had one of my field staff was down at the Escutney garage. Been having problems with the oil boiler at the smaller Tunbridge size garage. I said, we're not gonna keep limping it along. Let's get a price to replace this with heat pump. So that's kind of the directive of taking on, and just to try to meet these goals with a little more efficiency and speed. So
Yeah,
Great.
our implementation is a little ahead of our tracking, I would say right now, just our own analysis and then, working with BGF, it looks like they have a roadmap for improvement themselves and we'll definitely be
And
partnering
if
with them.
there's any way that we could tweak the language to make it easier, which I've been willing to do that, especially if we see you taking it seriously.
Mhm.
Want to meet the goals, we won't feel like we need to force the details of this.
Do we get, I'm gonna call myself, do we get some kind of report do we request every other year? Or is this a recurring report? We're only hearing this once. Cause I guess what would be helpful is I don't really know information before this point in time. And I don't really understand how it relates. Like the one piece that's missing for me is we do have goals to meet and I don't know where this information fits within those goals.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we could get that in the future.
Yeah, sort of a little two different things, like Senator Pritchett was saying, this sort of came about to get us to report on something. We haven't been providing reports specifically. We've been providing that information to BGS to report and track progress for the comprehensive energy plan.
Okay.
And there's a state energy plan, just the state bill, there's a combination of this data they're giving to BPS and DGS.
Okay,
You know,
so can we get that for us? As well, I guess, is that cause you must get that report, but it doesn't come to us in the BGS.
We're in a little bit of a transition period right now. If you read the auditor's report, and where things are.
Oh, okay, well, I'll research on my own.
And
But
I will just add, it's also difficult to, granted, AOT's building portfolio and BGS's are vastly different.
Yeah,
We get a garage, we get 5 overhead doors all open at once. We're losing a lot of heat. Our buildings typically aren't going to be as efficient as the BGS buildings, although we're making gains in that aspect, but very different energy usages.
But I think the state buildings energy report about that does call out transportation separately.
It
They have
does.
some data tables and stuff.
It does.
yes.
And then BGS sends that to the state energy office for this statewide energy plan. So
Mhm.
it's folded into that.
Okay,
Yeah, and those are the result of different statutes over the years since 2011, really.
and you see that where, it's not in the EAM, or it's a separate thing, because I
The
guess
state agency energy plan is chapter 9 of the comprehensive energy plan now. And PSC does an annual report on that. But
So, okay, because I have a big thick printed out copy of the most updated climate action plan, but that would include that information?
That's a little different. There's the climate action plan, which is focused on greenhouse gas reduction. And then there's this state energy plan, which is just meeting energy needs,
Mhm.
thermal and electric,
Okay,
separate from greenhouse gases, but the two
should they?
work together. Yeah.
right, there's definitely overlap. There's definitely
Right.
things that are separate to each and then,
I'm gonna find the state energy plan from 2025 then.
There's an annual energy report.
Yeah.
And then there's the comprehensive energy plan is renewed every 6 years.
2022 is the last one.
If you want the big
The cap-
plan,
Can you come present this at the Climate Solutions Caucus? Because now I'm behind. I thought I was the most up to date on this information, and now I'm realizing I'm
you
trying.
should look at the auditor's report about
Okay.
DGS.
There's the auditor's report, and then, when the first initial climate action plan came out at the end of 2021, the comprehensive energy plan was due for renewal 2022, so that was in January of 2022. So that was the time when they were kind of both coming out. So, both agencies, the Climate Action Office and, I'm not sure which office, but TJ4 they definitely did some presentations of like what's separate and in each one, and then where they overlap, you know, that Venn diagram of these two different plans.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
30 seconds left.
Yeah.
I
timing,
think, and I don't know if we found anybody, Megan. Did we find anybody from
And you know what?
the Amtrak to give us either?
No, Dan was gonna come at 11:25, I just added it. You need to come
Okay.
today.
Yeah, 11.
11:20.
Oh, yeah, they would feed you,
Yes.
they would really
Okay.
appreciate it.
I used to come.
Okay.
Oh, don't
That's
forget
all we
that.
need.
It's a nice flag. Yeah,
Thank you.
So.
thank you, it was good.
Helpful.
Helpful.
Right, thank you a little bit, and I know meeting the governor's staff. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, that's why it's hard to get caucus meeting.
But it's good
All
to
right.
know that there was good food.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
It's definitely better. Remember.
Good.
That's my question again. See, your persistence is paid off.
It
Yeah.
only took like 4 years.
Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner, you're on.
Good morning, Andrew Collar, Commissioner DMV. And here to touch base, I know we discussed in previous testimony about employee engagement, so
Yeah.
happy to touch base on some of the data points we've sent that were mentioned.
Does everybody have?
So I know it came up in earlier testimony, Senator White, and then yourself, Chair, DMV being, I guess, bottom third of the state employee engagement. As I discussed then, we are showing, I think, great strides. I'm very proud of from the 24 results versus 25. This is, listen, I'm someone that wants to win. So being a bottom third is not where I want our department to be. So, but that being said, we are doing some great work to make sure we are pulling these numbers up. I think the biggest action I want to take when we come about, or usually comes out in April, is really making sure employees have the time to do the survey. I think we're showing 110 and 25 take it. It's important just to get the engagement and get those numbers up. So really making it clear to leadership team, which we did the first time around, but really reinforcing that employees, if they want, they have that time, take 15, 20 minutes or so to just work on the survey.
That's great.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Westman. And yeah, actually, that's a great point. I think, I just want to start by saying this morning I spent 30 minutes talking to my mother about her DMV experience in White River Junction, because she was trying to get a title. And she had a lovely time and met many people and made friends at the DMV. Did not complete the transaction, unfortunately, due to a mismatch in the desired paperwork. But she had a really pleasant experience. And I think that's the first time my mom has interacted with the government in, months, other than me. So I do think how your employees feel and how they interact with the community face to face, you have a high, there, people need to be feeling good about the work that they're doing, confident in the work that they're doing, and also I think approachable and friendly, because you're getting everybody essentially at those front end jobs.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask, because I was, and I brought it up because I do think there is some concern I have around some of the questions that would relate to morale. So I did want to ask how you feel about increasing morale there. It seems like the main problems, like in some of the questions that you rank low on, seems to be the amount of work that people are expected to perform. So they're feeling overburdened, it sounds like they're being asked to do too much, and that a higher percentage of them are actively looking for a new job. Like 27% are actively looking for a new job, which is about 10% higher than the rest of the state workforce. So that makes me concerned because turnover in those positions can lead, I just have a lot of thoughts about it. So
Yeah,
I'd
no,
love to kind of get your.
absolutely.
perspective on those things.
I would just say last year was an extremely difficult year. You're at the final end of a very long transition with with the IT system. And that was a big ask. We had people that were removed from normal operations, so more work was put on those doing their normal day-to-day operations. And then just change. It's change in the system, change in policies, change in there was up until December, there was the employees were operating in the old system and then also operating in the new system. It's not great. I'll be the first one to say that. It's not a great environment to work in. Now that's behind us. The team's doing great. And what we're seeing is, and this, we stole this from the agency side. And I think the deputy for finding it, we just, as we put in the notes in the bottom, we just put in the anonymous portal. So employees can submit concerns, comments, ways, process improvements,
Beautiful.
kind of everything under the sun. And that has been a great thing. We're already making changes and planning on making changes based on this feedback. Another area that was big was, which bubbled up early when I first started, was training. And it was difficult for management supervisors to have training with their frontline employees. And
Oh, yeah, and you did the thing on Wednesdays.
yes, so we were able to find kind of historically with the lowest foot traffic, if you will, into locations and call volume, which is that third Wednesday every month. And so we opened up an hour later now, and that allows managers, supervisors to have, as a group, cohesively, these trainings and sit downs and kind of make sure everyone's operating on the same sheet of music.
I actually, thank you for outlining those two things. I think those are really great improvements that could address like exactly the things that I mentioned. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I did just want to say to that point you made about the anonymous box. There was one question that in specific you folks ranked lower around, I am encouraged to share ideas on improving either service delivery or business process efficiency. And DMV was about 10 points lower than the state average for that. So I think that that's a really, what you just described is a really good way to address that, because it sounds like perhaps there's a slight mismatch in folks' ability to influence the processes around them.
Yep.
Even though they're noticing like, I think the K truck is a great example. You know, like there are probably a whole bunch of DMV staff who knew a year ago that this was going to bubble up as an issue, but didn't maybe have a pathway to share that. So I hope that you expand on that anonymous box
absolutely.
with also like encouraging folks to give more feedback to their direct, you get what I'm saying? So thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'll just say, right, I mean, this survey came out, we were 4 or 5 months into both of us being in new leadership roles over there, and people are feeling this out. I've made it very clear to the team, you know, we are open to all ideas. If I think the worst words I hear are, this is the way we've always done it, which I always follow up with why. And can we do this differently or better? Or maybe it's the way we have to do it. That's fine. But this is the way we've always done it is a trigger point. And I made that clear with all the leadership team, all the management team, that if they hear that, we need to dig in. And because there's probably a different way of doing it. It might not be the way we should be doing it, but let's explore it, because we have an opportunity to make changes and try to find some improvements both for employees, for customers, and just efficiency of the work.
Yeah.
So, I want to say there's an improvement, which I totally appreciate in all of this. It's headed in the right direction. But here's what I would say, and totally appreciate the improvement. I received the training I need to do my job effectively, and it has gone up from 43% to 55%. But that means 45%. Does that mean 45% of the respondents to this felt like they don't have the training to do their job?
Correct. And that's where we're trying our best to get that moved up. Because that is,
And what steps have you taken to address points like that?
so that goes right back to what we were hearing, which is training couldn't happen, or training was happening in a decentralized manner. So a supervisor was pulling one or two employees away from the counter, having a sit down or training over work, and then kind of pulling another two. We're not having that cross pollination of questions being asked between what staff are asking, and it's messy. So that's why we started this initially right now, 1 hour a month, and that seeing how that pans out. And if we have to increase that, we will. But I think that was the single biggest thing we were hearing, was the ability for managers and supervisors to be able to pull staff away and have time to discuss training or have training, and just have face-to-face feedback as a group with their sections.
Well, I would follow that up because I have a clear understanding of how to advance in my career, which I would think that most people that relates to you doing your job. That's the one area here where there's slippage.
Yep.
So that's worrisome in this. And because I think if you can't figure out how to do your job,
Yep.
you have questions about your job and there's slippage in that area, it doesn't feel right to me.
No, absolutely. Nor should it. And that's not what we're going to rest on. And that's what we're trying to improve. And there's a global discussion, which we sit on these meetings as well, that the employees in the state government don't necessarily have a clear direction on how movement can happen in the careers. And that's something that we are actively trying to improve just internally at DMV, and then be part of this larger conversation as well in state government, because you're absolutely correct, where I think you look across our department, and if you have someone who starts out their career at a window helping customers do their transactions, how do we best explain a career progression for that person? How do we show a growth in other opportunities within the department? And that's something that we are striving to do better at, and display better for employees, to show your growth path. There are opportunities outside of what you're doing right now within DMV. DMV touches a lot of different areas, and there's a lot of different directions people can go in. So we want to make sure we do better at explaining that and showing that to employees.
Okay. Go ahead.
There's two documents on our website, but I think they're the same.
Oh.
Just want to see if there's something different. Yeah, okay. They're titled different, but they look different. I'm like, am I missing something about what they are? Maybe there's-
No, it's just because I don't use it.
Okay, just under different. Okay,
One down.
that's fine. So a lot of these, other than after the engagement survey, fines, it's just like a 1 year. It's just data about accomplishments of like how many of things he said, which I'm glad to see that Montpelier had the lowest wait time.
Wait, where's the page? Wait.
Page two.
Page.
Just the office person.
Yeah, but yeah, upside trying to brag about Montpelier. It would be great if these were more like performance measures where we saw
Oh,
over time, like what's the average wait time over the last 5 years? What's your target wait time? Where are we? Like that would be interesting. I mean, like transactions completed is interesting to see how it spreads out the office, but I don't know if you have other performance measures. I think wait time would be one, and I think the Center White's point if the employees are happier, they're gonna probably work better.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if you have any other performance measures for the office other than wait time, because I assume just number of visits is data, but it isn't a performance measure you're tracking.
Yeah.
But if there's any other performance things you're tracking, that'd be interesting to see over time. And then if you ever do a customer survey,
Yeah.
which I know you wouldn't want to do all the time to be difficult, or you get to, I don't know, contract it out or something, but if that was ever done, or like number of complaints, I don't know if there's
Yeah.
a way an easy
Do you-
way for people to complain other than the website, or I don't think you still have suggestion box and video opposite, because I remember you used to, do you still have those? Okay. I don't know if you track those, like how many complaints you get per year would be interesting to see. And I think it'd be helpful for the department to track as a performance measure.
Did you want to say, I want to,
There's
Jim,
more of a
follow up on
statement
that.
question.
yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. And I thought you could. I think, customer surveys, they don't need to be complicated, and I think they're really important.
Yeah.
Because,
And what else do we track in here? Do you track if you have a case that comes in and you're working with a case? Do you track how long it takes to close them and take care of their problem?
Like transaction,
No, Matt Russo, Deputy Commissioner for the record. We don't track how long it takes. I know that if somebody emails an issue in
But what are the points that you do track?
for customer complaints,
No, yeah, for customers that come in with problems, complaints, what do you track besides wait times?
I feel like within the system it's able to track a lot of things. I don't know. I can get you a list of things that we track.
That would be helpful.
Complaints, we track as far as if there was an error, the employee is notified just for corrective actions for future reference. But correcting it itself is done immediately. You know, as soon as we get a call or an email, or anyway, our admin is able to take care of it right away. All of our admins are able to take care of it right away. So it's within a day.
yeah, and I actually would,
Yep.
it just, some of these, like the ones by me are, not open every day.
Yeah.
And you call them the mobile sites, which I
Yes.
think, I wish you called it something else, because to me, that means a site that moves around, but to you, it means that your people move around. But for the customer, some people don't even know Dummerston is still open. And they really appreciate it when they go there, and, I'm seeing the walk-ins are actually more than the appointments. It would be helpful just to have a sign in front of the building, just saying the days that it's open. Seriously, a lot of people think it's closed
Mhm.
permanently.
Okay.
And I don't, and we should know which ones are, I would call them part-time or something.
satellite office or satellite.
Yeah, or just not open all the time. I mean, basically think of it, open only on
Is
certain, like, what are the days that it's open?
As a follow-up to that, how do we reach out to people to tell them that we encourage you to make an appointment and not walk in? Because I think across the board, every single site has that. I gotta tell you, in South Burlington, 104-minute wait. If I got there, I'd want to make an appointment and go back to my office and go to work. I would not want to wait 104, and that is, other than Montpelier, the only other place over 3,000 3,000 appointments, and walk-ins is almost 5,000. So it's.
Yeah, it's
How do we reach out to the public and say the best way to not have a wait time that is make an appointment?
So
So what are we doing?
one of the things that we identified last year. And again, unfortunately, with everything with IT, it takes a while to make the change. Verbiage, but on our renewal letters for like registrations or licenses, we spend a lot of time fixing the verbiage, because a lot of people with the license renewals were walking in, because the verbiage said you had to come in for a picture, but you might not have needed to. So we were able to fix the verbiage on what was getting mailed to customers, and we kind of reiterate on those. Please make an appointment, we'll get you right in. We followed up regularly with our social media. We make sure it's clear on our website. We need to, honestly, I've been racking my head on how we can do better on that, because when you make an appointment, no joke, you are in and out. And South Burlington, I've had a lot of discussions on South Burlington. South Burlington seems to be this a different people. When we approach people in line and say, "Hey, can you get you an appointment or something?" They say, "No, we just want to wait." There's a line out the door on most mornings when people show up. We've been trying to think of ideas to do. South Burlington needs to be a little different from the rest of the offices on how we can try to approach getting put people in appointments and not wait. There seems to be
It's UVM, I'll just say it. It's all the college kids. I'm sorry, as someone who got their license renewed in South Burlington, the difference is it's all the college kids who don't make appointments. No offense, South Burlington.
Oh, yeah, it could be, but then
Maybe it's UVM,
Well-
maybe it's connecting with UVM and
Yeah.
being like, you don't need, maybe that's actually how to do it, is connecting with some of the institutions. Because your group that seems to be in South Burlington is
Yeah.
like St. Mike's kids, you lose your license. I don't know.
yeah.
That was my experience there. So maybe it's working with the institutions rather than kind of a blanket marketing campaign, just saying like, could you share with UVM because they have lists of all of their kids. I don't know.
It could
yeah, I
also
think
be
that's a good idea.
because of they have a higher immigration population, lots of English is
Yeah.
Yeah.
language, so you're probably that.
Well, we get, if we have, a resource center at DSAC, and they come in and the first thing we do is, do you have an appointment? If you don't, here's how you make an appointment. And we encourage them as they get to the door to make an appointment, come back.
Yeah.
And it would just seem that there's got to be some way to reach out, because almost every site, some sites it's more balanced than that, but almost every site there's more walk-ins than that. And it's really inefficient for not only the people coming in, but the employees themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a fair amount of people just don't have a lot of time to make an appointment. It can be hard and they can be struggling. Like actually people coming out of incarceration. So I don't want to just make sure that the appointments are working well. I want us to have for people to know when the local office is open, right? And to have friendly people there when they're open. And I think we're working on that. Generally they are. But it's also you could just also let the towns know, because town meeting is coming up and there's a lot of information that goes out in town meeting. So you could let the towns know, because seriously, people in my area don't even know that it's open or when it's open. And then they end up going to Bennington, which is a really big deal because it's very far, going over the mountain, especially in the winter. And you can see the amount of walk-ins
You
in
get one of
both
those-
Bennington and Dummerston.
Dancing air things.
Or-
Like,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. We have to be careful not to violate any of those. But some sort of just physical notification would be really helpful.
And something that, like I was down in Springfield and in Dummerston, and while I was out there, I noticed the line. And so I was inquiring,
Springfield?
In Springfield.
Yeah, which
Uh,
is very different than, that's two whole counties
Yes.
that
so-
don't have a place. So, Bennington and Wyndham County don't have service every day like the other counties.
Well, we
So-
don't.
Bennington is open every day. Full-time site.
Is it?
But
Okay,
what I was,
so that, actually, we have to have that on this list too, please.
yeah, we'll update that. And what I was what we're finding is in the line, a lot of the people in line were actually dealerships,
Hmm,
out-of-state dealers with transactions.
okay,
And so we also made a change back around November where dealers, we have a dealer unit, which was started right before I came on. That those transactions flow through that dealer unit.
okay,
And
good.
we're hoping that will alleviate some of the wait times as well and get, because they would show up with, 5 transactions. They'd hold their transactions and show up at a DMV office with,
Well, they
Fire
actually did that
water.
with the buses, when we transitioned the bus systems.
Yep. So we're moving that to what the unit is made for, which is the dealer unit. And we're hoping that will also alleviate these wait times as well and allow more opportunities for customers and public to.
How much of the service now is done with walk-ins and then how much of the service is done online? And how much is done with people that call in?
Yep.
And I asked, is my Sunday night, I'm in Jericho at a restaurant in Jericho, and there's only one, so probably.
Yes.
And I'm sitting at the counter having my dinner, trying to mind my own business, and somebody comes up and goes, I just called in this past week. I called in at 2:30 in the afternoon. The office closed at 4 and they hung up on me. That then I was told, then I figured out the next day I called in earlier and I got at 1 o'clock. And I asked for the call back and they called me back at 3:45. We got resolved and I don't get a sense here of, there's gotta be a little more information going forward, not right now, but going forward. So we get a better feel of what the total picture is of what's happening.
Absolutely. I know Matt's got some data points on calls too.
Right now, we average roughly 2,300 calls a
Yeah,
day. I'm sorry, a week. And an average of roughly 20 minutes of a wait time.
Yep.
We do have the callback service. So the callback means, hey, I don't need to wait on the line.
Yep.
Take your time. It's more of a, hey, we'll call you when you're next in line. So the average right now for a callback is 40
and do you
minutes.
have any, I deal with this every day, in my other job in that, we have national standards that we compare to, for, the amount of time that people wait and the wait times. Is there, among DMVs across the country, national wait times? So we could measure against the goals and what
I think it's a good question. I don't know, but that's definitely
You
something
must-
to look at.
you must have an association, though.
For call centers?
No,
Well, for DMV, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
DMVs, absolutely. Yes, we,
And-
AMBA.
And do they have like a standard and you compare yourself to that?
They just came out, they just formed a new committee, I believe, recently based on customer service, so that I think is new informing, it's misinforming.
Yep,
But I also want to be cautious about the one-offs where there might have been a situation where there was a callback issue. Because in the grand scheme of things, in the big picture, we're getting a lot of positive feedback
yep.
about
I,
the center.
not doing it,
But yes, I agree.
because I deal with this all the time in my job.
Mhm.
And people are calling in about the college savings plan I work for and trying to move money and all the stuff. We have national standards and we compare that and I get a quarterly report and every quarter I do that. But, I don't want a quarterly report here, but once a year, particularly in your budget presentation, and that it would be nice to be able to see, here's how we're doing, here's how we fit.
Yeah.
I would think the National Association for DMVs must have they must collect some of this information someplace. So it would be nice to see where we fit versus other
Yeah.
places.
Agreed.
I agree.
All right. Thank you. And I am glad that it looks like with the employees, there's an improvement. You know, they're still concerned, but it, you know, for the most part, it looked like it was headed in a better direction, and we'll ask you about it next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a 10-minute break and, is it in the Cedar Creek room? Where's
Yeah.
with a food bank?
Bet, Cedar Creek.
That's where all of them.
Okay,
We can pull out.
we'll be back at 1/4 after.